Hello everyone. In the last video, we saw the importance of the date table and I showed you how to create one. For now, we want to focus on the most important functions in DAX, which are calculate, filter, and all. These three functions will be covered in the next three videos. And after that, we will circle back to date and time intelligence functions. First of all, let's start with the calculate. Now, to really understand why we need the calculate function and what makes it so important when you work on DAX is to first take an example. So I want to make a very simple visualization. Let's make a table. And in this table, we will keep the market and the sales value like this. Now, if I want to find the sum of sales, if all of you recall, we had already created a measure called the sum of sales. Now imagine that if I put the sum of sales in the table, as you would expect, we get exactly the same result. Now, even before I had told you when we were discussing the implicit versus the explicit measure, that the advantage of writing the sum of sales manually is that we can have some level of control on it. Let's see how to do that. So I have the sum of sales here. I just want to change this into sum of sales for Africa. Now, the moment I write calculate says that it will evaluate an expression in a context modified by filters, which means that if I only give an expression like the sum of sales, you notice there is no difference because we are still finding the sum of sales. So adding the calculate is not really making any difference. The advantage of calculate will come in when I add a filter. Now think of how in Excel you use a SUMIF, an average if, or a COUNTIF. So when you use a COUNTIF, you say that I want to count all the values as long as they meet the condition. This is similar to that. So here if I say that I would like to find the sum of sales where the market is equal to Africa, think what happens. Now when I press enter, you notice that the same value for Africa is repeated everywhere. So this is how you can control the way the numbers appear on a table or on a visualization. And calculate is so important because it just changes the way these results will appear. One more time, if you look at the description, it says it evaluates an expression. The expression could be any expression that you're writing. But the most important thing is that it is modifying it by a filter that has been applied. In the PowerPoint, I've also given you a few links which I strongly suggest that all of you should read. One of it is on the Microsoft website, the other is on DAX Guide, and the third one is on SQL BI. It will take you some time to read through all this documentation, but it's very, very important because as I mentioned before, to really learn DAX very well, you can't just learn it by hit and trial. You do have to read the documentation.